Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going with the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
It's very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go.
Oh no!
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Interlagos, Brazil has long been the home of Formula One racing, but tonight it's time for the Circuit XL eSeries. And after 2 back-to-back weeks of enduro rounds, we're back to the sprint format. A 30-minute race coming up shortly, short break, and then we go into race 2, another 30-minute race with the top 10 inverted. We are going to see some fantastic action around this circuit tonight. G'day everyone, I'm David Haynes. Joining me tonight, I've got Nick Scaraju, and as has been a couple times, we've got Fonty on production for us tonight. It's round 9, and things are definitely getting heated. It had been close all season long, but in the last couple of rounds, Ethan Grigalt has really blown out his championship lead. Almost 400 points he has in front of second-placed Ben Bargwanna, and Aaron Oliver very, very close in third in the points championship. We're not long from getting race 1 underway, which we're very, very excited for. Nick, we don't have an Excel on iRacing, but the next best we can do is this Audi TCR car. It's front-wheel drive. It's got all of those same challenges. It's definitely a touring car. At whatever drivers you grab, they are going to race this car hard and close, touring car style. Well, these XL drivers, they are very, very much used to that pack racing. How do you think they're going to fare at Interlagos? What are the corners to look out for some action?
How you doing there, David? Yeah, good to have you together tonight on SynSpeed Esports Network. So with the Audi TCR, really fast track Interlagos, a lot of sweeping bends. Tyre wear could be a bit of an issue. We've got such corners. Just bringing up the track map at the moment.
Certainly, we've got the big run up the hill to the start-finish line, then leads into the Senna S. Definitely a place that you can make a move, but as Max Verstappen and Esteban Ocon know, you need to be very careful sometimes with that switch back there. But the TCR car is always very, very close, and if anything, we've had some recent updates in the last week on iRacing. Might bring things even closer together.
Yeah, that's it. And with the TCRs too, very much like the XL, yeah, the cream really rises to the top. Quite a forgiving car and can be pushed really deep into the corners. So I think, yeah, I'm really excited to see a lot of battles out there tonight.
Also joining us, Scott Fountain, and you have driven a couple of the rounds, Fonty. You've also produced the coverage for some of the others. How have you found the racing out there, and what does that lead you to expect from Interlagos tonight? Yeah, so our drivers and teams just getting ready and loading into the session. We can do likewise a short warm-up before 30-minute race. And we'll also be able to take a look at what the qualifying order was, because we had 4 separate qualifying groups. And only as we now approach the race session are all of their times amalgamated and sorted into what is going to be our starting grid for race 1. Then for race 2, we take the finishing results of race 1, but it's not a fully progressive grid as we invert the top 10. So a win in race 1 would have you starting from 10th on the grid in race 2 with yet more work to do. Whereas if you're battling around the top 10 in race 1 and you manage to move up into that 10th spot, well, lucky you starting on pole for race 2, Nick.
Yeah, that's it. Really big field as well. So everyone's in with a bit of a chance. Even with the reverse grid, yeah, there'll be a lot of carnage at the front with the top 10 positions changing really quick. But yeah, it could be anyone's race.
Certainly could. While we are waiting to get race 1 underway, run you down your top couple drivers in the points as they are right now. So your leader, and handsomely, is Ethan Griggolt. Quite a lot of race wins under his belt. Won last time out at Spa, taking home the 300 points that were on offer. So he has 1,836 points at the lead of the championship. Then second is Ben Bargwanna, around 1,465, just 9 points ahead of Aaron Oliver in third. It's currently the highest placed of all of the South Australian licensed drivers. So he's in line potentially for a prize sponsored by SA Motorsport Tyres. He'll be looking to make sure he absolutely nails that one down, keeps getting points all the way to the end here. Tommy Saunter-Chun in fourth with 1,320 points, is ahead of Jordan Ross in fifth. Sixth place is Jack Boyd. Then seventh, Dylan Burse. It's just a couple little handful of points ahead of Matt Brunt, who's eighth in the standings. Lachlan Manif has been an interesting one to watch. He put on a great show in the Enduro round at Bathurst, I have to say, holding on for a fifth place finish on tyres that had absolutely no business giving him any performance in that heat. So he has definitely showed himself to be a strong driver, even with one hand behind his back. So he's ninth in our standings. And then Lee Harrison is in 10th. And then I think you have to give an honourable mention to Chelsea Angelo in 11th, who's just improved round after round as we've been in this championship. So you can see warm-up underway right now before we head into race one. 6 minutes left of that warm-up, and that'll help the drivers adjust to the track and the weather, because we are racing underneath the hot South American sun tonight. 26 in the air, lovely, but that surface temperature is being hit by that tropical sunshine. 51 degrees, and Nick, what effect does the track temperature have on the handling of these cars?
Yeah, that's it, Dave. Yeah, definitely bring your sunscreen with this 50-degree track temp. You'll need to, really against tyre degradation. So we'll see pretty quickly that the cars will be up to temperature really fast, but also, even though 30 minutes doesn't seem like a long time, you'll start to see drivers really start to wind off the pace with, suffering with that degradation.
Fixed setup, Fonty, so none of our drivers are going to compensate with setup changes. I think all that they can do for that tyre life and performance across the race is driving style and maybe play with the brake bias a little.
Yeah, you're exactly right, mate. It's I certainly enjoy the fixed setup stuff. It gives everyone an even playing field, and these cars are absolutely fantastic. So with the track being so hot, you're going to be wearing out fronts like no tomorrow. That second race is going to be a difficult one, that's for sure.
Fixed setup, as you say, exactly does help to level the playing field a bit. We've got all sorts for the Excel eSeries. We've got some seasoned sim racing competitors representing their esports teams as well. We've got long-time motorsport competitors in the Excel eSeries who've hopped over on iRacing to join us. There's also quite a lot of young drivers just making a start in motorsport and sim racing who join us in this championship as well. So big variation of real driving experience, big variation of sim driving experience, and I think also quite a wide gamut of age groups as well. So to have all of them racing together as close as we have seen is fantastic.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. We've got a few of the guys from the Airbus Academy for the esports competition. So Jaden Wazek and Aaron Oliver. So both in like this 16 to 18 age group, as well as the 13 to 15 age group.
Yep, precisely that. So some young guns, some familiar surnames as well. I think best known of that might be the Bargwanas. We've got Brock Feeney also joining us, who's well known for anyone who enjoys watching supercars support categories there. So plenty to look for. As I say, we are, as you can see on the screen as well, 3 minutes away from forming up our grid. Now, drivers taking this opportunity of everyone on track at the same time together for the first time to maybe practice out a little bit of bump drafting, practice a little bit of slipstreaming, because that is so critical. One lap pace is one thing, Fonty, but I think knowing your racecraft, knowing when to attack, when to defend, and where to place your car is really what tends to matter in these races, and also, I guess, out on the real track for XLs.
Yes, that's exactly right. They're so similar, this TCR, Audi and the Hyundai. It's all about looking after your fronts, you know, generally stay out of trouble and look after your car early on in the race, and you'll have a pretty strong one towards the end. So yeah, certainly I've always struggled with outright one lap pace to get far enough up the grid in qualifying, and my kind of goal whenever I go out there is to just keep it on the black stuff, and generally you'll find that people will throw it off in front of you. So yeah, I reckon that's what you got to do, and that's where we've seen, you know, some big things happen in this championship, and people kind of be right there up at the front, but just make that one little mistake. We're lucky enough at this track that there is plenty of runoff areas, so we're not like Bathurst where you've got walls both sides. So if you do make a mistake here, it is quite forgiving. But yes, certainly an awesome racetrack, plenty of passing opportunities. These cars are actually quite difficult to get a pass done. You need to wait for the person in front of you to make a mistake most of the time to be able to get that run, or be just a bit better under brakes. But yeah, it's kind of the slipstream in these, they don't go that fast, so it's not a big key factor, and because of being front wheel drive, you get a massive punch off the turn, so chance of getting by just by drafting is really difficult.
Yeah, indeed. We saw a week ago at Circuit Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, a lot of our drivers with only so much respect for the track limits. There's a couple places around here at Interlagos where we might just see the same. Turns 4 and 5 to Cida de Lago. You can kind of take that from 2 corners into 1 by extending some of the runoff there potentially. And we've seen maybe in qualifying and the warm-up here a couple of drivers for using the run-up before Junsao to come up the hill to really open up the entry to that corner, let them carry as much speed as possible up the hill. As you see here, Jordan Ross, who's been fastest in this practice warm-up session so far, and he's taken some race wins as well this season, so he's always a good one to watch. You saw him demonstrating that. Brings to an end our warm-up, and we can bring you the grid for race 1, round 9, Circuit XL eSeries from Interlagos. Ethan Grigault, your points leader, is going to start on pole. Jordan Ross, we've seen he's got some pace here. He's going to start alongside there in second place. Dylan Burse in third, Lee Harrison fourth, Ryan Casher fifth, Geordie Sinney there in sixth, Jack Boyd seventh, Kobe Williams eighth, and Matthew Brunt ninth, and says Jason Bargwanna, but I believe it's going to be Ben Bargwanna driving there. Going to be a standing start. Our drivers are just getting ready, so we'll look at the next 10, which is Aaron Oliver, who needs a good result, Tommy Saunter-Chun, Caleb Hides, Andrew Hobby, Joel Johnson, Chelsea Angelo going to start out at 16th, Lachlan Manif in 17th, Sam Christensen 18th there, then Peter Clark and Ryan Bell. All of our drivers on the grid, lights beginning to come on. They're all hoping for a good run down towards turn 1. These cars are difficult to launch with that front-wheel drive, but Ethan Grigault has it just perfect, and the getaway he precisely wanted as they fan out 4 wide behind. Ross also with a good jump, but it's everyone from 4th on back who needs to watch out through the opening couple of corners here as the tyres get up to temperature, and get up to temperature quickly they will with that track temp of 50 degrees. Standing start, they need to be cautious. And here we see at the exit of turn 3, already many drivers exceeding that circuit limit as they try to fight for positions on lap 1 of this 30-minute sprint race.
Great. Yeah, Dave, great work by everyone getting away cleanly. Looks like all 35 cars managed to get through Senna and Curva de Sol reasonably quickly. But just seeing a few passes come through now, so
yeah, a couple drivers struggled off that start though. A couple positions lost for Tommy Saunter-Chun, Matt Brunt as well having troubles. So no huge incidents, but a couple drivers have been shuffled back. Ryan Cash has come from 5th into 3rd with all of that mayhem and melee. As you see, they are still too wide through the infield here. 35 drivers battling hard as they dare. 3 wide at Bico de Pato, the duckbill, and you see one of the Innovate cars get very, very sideways. Just pick up a bit of the throttle, front wheel drive, pull yourself out of it, and another tap coming down the hill. Some of these drivers using plenty of that ocean of runoff, and I say ocean as it is blue indeed. Mitchell McGarry 3 wide to the inside of Yung Sao, just about gets away with it there as well. So on your opening lap, big winners, Ryan Casher from 5th into 3rd, Caleb Hyde's 13th into 10th, but your leader, Ethan Griggolt, Fonty, you have to also call him and Jordan Ross a winner on that start. They have started breaking away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, they certainly have. 1.8 seconds between Jordan and Ryan. These guys are at the top of their sim racing career there. We see them in all the different series throughout the New Zealand and Australian iRacing community, and yeah, doing a fantastic job. Certainly the benchmark of this field, but great racing a bit further back here. Oh, we got a bit of contact there. Big smash
wide on
just
Retro
trying to see.
Aposto was just never going to work.
Number 99 car going around. We'll have to get a replay of that at some point. Tommy Sunta-Chun, big moment there. He will be absolutely gutted.
Yeah, your winner from the Enduro round at Phillip Island earlier in the season, not off to a good start here at Interlagos. You can see that Audi RS3 has been beat heavily against the Armco between turns 3 and 4 there. But this is all because of this train that is forming in your upper field. Ryan Casher here in 3rd. Nick, he is just leading a train all the way down to 10th.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. Yeah, they're all within barely a second of each other in some spots. So seeing a few hip checks and seeing a few people like run it really, really wide. So yeah, cars going everywhere at the moment.
Yep, indeed.
Fantastic battles throughout this race early on.
Including for the lead, Fonty, because Jordan Ross is going to stick his nose towards the inside of Ethan Griggolt, who was not in the mind to fight it this early. So with his nose in front, heading into turn 1, Jordan Ross is going to try to grab that spot, but he's not clear before turn 2. But turn 3, he managed to work it around the outside of the center S, and into the lead goes Jordan Ross. Behind that, Dylan Burst and Ryan Casher are having almost a doppelganger deja vu battle. Here comes Jack Boyd to try and make it 3 wide. He's been strong all season long as well. So he has his car width to the inside, heading towards turn 4. These guys are being very, very brave, but Boyd not as brave as Casher and Burst. He ducks out of it because he wants to keep fighting another day. Lap 2, and there is fights being made.
Yeah, you're certainly right, mate. Jack Boyd, fantastic driver. Been in iRacing for about the last 2 years, and always been very competitive. He made probably quite a smart choice there to pull out of that one. The corner, just due to the camber, it kind of squares itself off very quickly. If you're on the inside, there would have been quite a big accident. 3 cars trying to fit into one gap, so he will certainly fight. These guys are racing hard, but they're racing clean at the same time. Very unfortunate for Tommy Sunta-Chun to lose out. We've seen him get tangled in quite a few incidents throughout this championship. Just taking a look back here, Chelsea Angelo hanging on the back of this bunch here. She's thinking, come on guys, come together. I'm just going to sit back here, look after my tyres, and wait for you guys to take each other out and come through. But she's improved hugely over the season as well, David.
Yeah, no doubt. I think we said that at Monza, where she was running solidly in the top 5 both races. Maybe didn't get the results she was after, but look at these live pictures as they are 3 wide across the pit straight. No room given. Dylan Burst still manages to lead the train. Ryan Casher holds on to 4th, but Kobe Williams there gets shuffled back into 7th. And Chelsea Angelo in 10th there, started in 16th, so she's picked off a lot of spots early and is in prime position to pick up a couple more. The way that these fellas are racing in front of her, switching lanes, pushing each other down the track, diving for every opportunity that they can find, Nick.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. Just checking on the timing screens too. Sunta Chun down to 33rd. So, yeah, not having a great night. Seeing those few accidents that he was having before. Oh, just as a had a.
That was a good accident there.
I think that was Jared off the side.
Yeah, a couple drivers losing out there. I can see Ben Barguana is losing a handful of spots there, so he's dropped down significantly and did miss exactly who that was. Might have been Geordie Cini that came in there a bit hot, a little bit late, and a bit hot is fair to say given what the track temperature is looking like. But most of our drivers carry on there, and Chelsea Angelo takes that opportunity to pick up another spot. So that spreads out that second place pack just a little bit. Certainly could come back together. How strong the slipstream is on these cars, magnified by the uphill run out of what's functionally the final corner and onto this long pit straight.
Yeah, great work by Chelsea Angelo, like really picking that gap. So now that everyone's spread out a little bit, it looks like everyone's going to sit in. But just as I say that, Jack, I think
it's Burst, Kasher, and Boyd once again. They tried to go 3 wide the other lap into turn 4. They tried it again into turn 1. Similar results. Dylan Burst holds on. Jack Boyd decides that he will keep his powder dry and fight another day. Right on the back of them there in, I think it's an Eclipse livery car, it's Kobe Williams. So here's Boyd trying to get around Kasher. Kasher defends, so Boyd has to look to the outside. Hasn't quite worked on this occasion. Your top 10 starting to get away from the rest of the field. Like we said, 35 cars taking the start here. Same number we had for our races at Oran Park. So 35 definitely enough to put on a solid event.
Dave, just catching right at the front too. Potentially Jordan Ross is right up on Ethan Grigolt's rear bumper. Yeah, Grigolt putting in fastest lap last lap as well.
Putting in the fastest clean lap, but I think also the fastest lap we have seen indeed. So they've switched back, Grigolt back into the lead ahead of Jordan Ross. Those two might just keep that up for a little bit till we get to the later couple laps of the race. This field, these guys have no respect for the normal track limits, and it's great. It's great to see. It's great to see. But yeah, here is your lead, and every time they come up the hill here, you see just how strong that slipstream is, and Ross trying to time the run to move back in front of Ethan Grigolt. No defense there from Grigolt. He sees this one coming long time and knows that these two are 5 seconds ahead of everyone else. They don't need to trip over each other and fall backwards into the pack. Is Angelo grabbing a spot off Lee Harrison, or trying? I think she has managed to do that. So Chelsea Angelo up 8 spots now and into 8th. Not our biggest mover in the field. There's 9 spots gained for Edward Mitchell and 9 for Dale Carpenter, but certainly inside your top 10, biggest mover so far, just picking them off one by one.
There we go, Ryan Kasher looking to make a move. Oh, a little bit of contact between Boyd and Kasher, so Boyd would have had to get off the gas. Otherwise that could have ended in tears. Oh, there we go, Dylan has made a mistake.
Very wide. Burst went massively wide into Ferradura there. He was starting to range away from the rest of these guys. Now they go a little bit too wide for a second there. They still are too wide. Burst, Boyd and Kasher. And again, too wide behind him. Let's Burst build out a little bit more gap. Ryan Kasher going to hold on to 4th. Fantastic stuff, and I have to say, for the most part, it's been very fair amongst these drivers here. Maybe with the exception of how we lost Barguana and Saunter Chun, but amongst the rest of them now, they're racing it hard, but there is enough respect being given that everyone is keeping their cars pointing the right way, except further back there. 3rd place in the championship is Aaron Oliver, but he's now deep in the order here in the Penrite car.
Let's go back, have a quick look and see what happened there.
Simulation replay. Here he is. Oh, they are just 3 wide coming up towards Bico de Pato there. And on the outside, it's only a little tap on the rear of these cars, and it swings right out, Nick.
Yeah, that's right. There's front end being these front-wheel drive touring cars, so it kind of leaves the rear a little bit light. I'm just seeing them, yeah, switch back and forth across the straight, but yeah, they can get it unsettled really quickly. But thankfully, being front-wheel drive, if they do slide out, another tap and they're usually sent back in the right direction.
Tangle there between Cine and Williams, and both of them are going to shortcut the entirety of Ferradura, I think. What's the rejoin going to be like? Less than stellar, as Cine comes up right in front of Chelsea Angelo and Lee Harrison. Angelo's blunted the nose on that Audi somewhere along in the last couple minutes.
Yeah, I saw she made that position change for P8 and then lost it, I think, going down into turn number 3, so wondering if maybe it was there. I'm not too sure, but battles are plenty throughout this race. Go, these guys are battling out the front again. Lead changes on, they're just swapping each lap, working together.
Good goal. Defending now for the first time, I think. So he's going to try and make Jordan Ross go around the outside of the Senna S. It's a change of form, and it works for Grigol. Ross not able to get around unless he sets up a solid switchback here. So not at the halfway point of the race yet, but they're feisty up front, as they have been second and third on back as well.
There we go, Angelo's dropped back position also, so wondering, oh, there we go, the yellow flag is
Safety
out.
car. So I see Andrew Hobby dropping down the screens very rapidly, but I don't otherwise know what's been the cause of this safety car, but certainly we've seen safety cars at a couple of rounds, not every round, but certainly when sometimes we have a big shunt, race control see fit to deploy the safety car. It's going to be, it's going to tell you who loses out from this. It's Jordan Ross and Ethan Grigol. What a lead they had in front of the feisty pack from third. That is now, Nick, going to be entirely erased.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone will be bunched together for a few laps behind the safety car before being sent back out again. I was just checking the timing screens. I actually think Andrew Hobbies had to pull out for some reason, so not too sure if that was something technical or maybe had an accident. But yeah, a few names already not continuing on, so yeah, it would be a great restart anyways. Just catching on the modem simulation replay.
Yeah, pass there. I think Angelo's struggling with straight line speed with that front of that car being so damaged. Back in 10th now is Angelo. Tell you what, you'd be pretty gutted if you were Greg Galt and Ross. I'm sure they will work together at the start of this one. These guys, the likes of Jack Boyd, those guys, they need to try and just not fight too hard in those first few corners, and then just try and hang with those front guys if they want to be able to win the race.
I think you might be onto something there, Fonty. I have heard from some other drivers that the latest construction of these Audi RS3s, the front splitter is a little bit susceptible to getting warped out of shape and costing you some of the aerodynamic efficiency, a little bit more sensitive than it used to be. So seeing the crumpling and damage to the front of Chelsea Angelo, and also, well, there's quite a few cars out there with some less than factory panels. So yeah, certainly, if you told me that Angelo was missing 10 kilometers an hour in a straight line, I would absolutely believe it. That would make it very hard to hold on to any positions, because we can see already the kind of runs some drivers get in the slipstream coming up the hill. If the driver in front is a bit of a wounded animal in that respect, well, yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult to stop anyone getting around you before turn 1.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It was quite interesting, actually. Obviously, iRacing have implemented the damage model, the new damage model on these TCR cars. I hadn't actually driven in a race with the damage model being applied, and I think it was Barcelona that we raced at, and I'd kept the car clean all race, and there was an accident in front of me, and I had a wheel come off the car in front of me and bounced across the track, and I only just slightly nicked it. No damage at all, but completely stuffed the front splitter and really took a lot of straight line speed out of it as well. And corner exit as well, just the aerodynamics struggled big time, so you just couldn't get the power down.
Well, we are going to have one more lap at a minimum behind the safety car. Thankfully, Interlagos is a bit of a shorter lap than, say, Spa or Bathurst, so this isn't going to be a massively long caution. We are going to have an exciting dash to the end of this sprint race 1. Let's have a look at, take this moment to catch our breath, sort of recap where we're at. I think I've seen Chelsea Angelo dive for pit entry. A couple of other drivers who are worried about their damage might do similar. But yeah, Ethan Grigault leading, Jordan Ross in second. That's how they qualified. That's how they've raced since lap 1 when both of them got a solid getaway. And then Dylan Burse in third, and then Ryan Casher fourth. Jack Boyd and Kobe Williams have each made up a couple spots into 5th and 6th, and we've got Geordie Sinney, Lee Harrison, Matt Brunt, and waiting to see where Angelo is actually going to shake out in this, because she's had a very quick pit stop. She is not going to be in... No, she's going to be in the top 10, my goodness. So, she's raced into pit lane, had a very quick repairs, and then raced out of pit exit and isn't going to get dropped all the way to the back of the field. Pit exit doesn't close as the safety car train comes past, so that is a quick stop from Angelo, and she was wasting no time there. So she's actually, well, she's 13th at the moment. We'll see how far back I think she's being shown to the back of the field for this restart, actually.
There we go. So I'm just going to go back and have a look and see what happened to Tommy Suntuchun at the start there. If we can...
Lap 2 or so, wasn't it?
Yes.
2 or 3?
Yes, I believe so. So I'm just going to have a look here, see what happened. Just having a look as they're coming into turn 1 now. So it was just after this point that he was turned around.
You definitely know it was after this, because all the panels are clean at this moment on Suntuchun's car. They certainly weren't after. You see, there was a checkup in front of him there. They go 4 wide, and in your gut, you know that that's never quite going to work. Couple panels rub there, and then eventually, they bounce off each other. Suntuchun definitely comes off the worst there.
Getting an onboard shot here, see how it was for Suntuchun. 4 wide's always dangerous. Oh, you see there. He was lucky not to get collected by another car. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, such a fast part of the track. He was, definitely a passenger by the time he was spun around into that grass. But yeah, great work by the pack behind him to, evasive not to hit him.
10 minutes left on the clock right now. Lights off on the safety car, and it's about to dive onto pit road. We are going to have a grandstand finish for race 1 here at Interlagos in Brazil. Your leader, Ethan Grigault, starting to back up a little bit, give himself the space to make the jump he wants to try and cleanly get back underway. He's holding 80. Green flag waves, and he puts the power down, but he did not get a big jump. The whole field stacked up immediately behind him, and you see the likes of Kobe Williams trying to take advantage on this start. They're fanned out 3, 4 wide behind. They come into turn 1. It's clean for first and second, but what about behind, where they are 2, sometimes 3 wide? So far, everyone behaving themselves, which is fantastic to see.
Yep, there we go. Great start there. Cleaner than I expected. Normally a pretty difficult turn 1. How sharp and aggressive it is. Seeing battles here into turn number 3. Ryan Casher and Kobe Williams sitting back there in 5th, so he's moved up quite far. I've seen one of the ones that didn't go into the pit lane. Oh, more side-by-side action up here. Ryan Casher doing a fantastic job. They have let their boys go out in front though. There is already a 1.3 second gap between Casher and Ross.
You just cannot separate Casher and Burst right now. It was a good jump from Kobe Williams, like you said. He's at the back of this train. Every single opportunity, Ryan Casher is parking it on the inside, parking it on the apex, and you think he's playing rear gunner for 1st and 2nd place. He just wants to stand on that podium. Kobe Williams is going to take the very wide approach, as are a couple cars back there looking for the solid restart.
Yeah, I was just checking in ninth. Matthew Brunt running a little bit wide. Shows how close together they are after that safety car. Like one slight mistake, and it looks like he's down about 4 positions. So
there we go. Lachlan Manif has just taken advantage of that. He's moved from 10th position up into 8th. Ben Barguana on the outside, just in front of them. Jordan Sinney. Oh, big crash, turn 1.
Yep, pile up. Big incident there. I know Frank Hodak's involved. Edward Mitchell's in there. Matt Brunt is in there as well. So quite a few damaged cars, quite a few cars backwards and sideways. And we'll only caught the end of that, so I can't say if someone's missed a
just a minute. Once this
braking marker or something.
Once this lap's over, we'll go back and take a look at it. Great battle here between Manif, Barguana, Lee Harrison.
great work too with Lachlan Manif, up 9 positions. So really taking advantage of the safety car and what's going on around him.
I must comment on the improved audio that iRacing have just released. You can hear so much more now. You can hear out there, I'm not exactly sure who it is, but we've got one of the cars which has a bit of loose metal. It's rubbing along the ground, and you can hear it scraping along the track, which until the update done last Tuesday, that certainly wasn't heard.
And this is such a great series to test that, because yeah, there is quite a few bent panels out there.
Yeah.
Just
So
seeing this.
6 minutes on the clock. I think that's going to be 4 laps to go then. Grid goal almost a second away from Jordan Ross, but then this battle for third has raged. I think since the get-go here, a couple cars go very deep in the turn 1. They are 4 wide in the center S there. And who's the big winner out of that one? Maybe Jordy Simmons. Barguana having some spots as well then, and a questionable rejoin.
Yeah.
More incidents back there. Gonna go back and have a look at this replay there. That Frank Hodak was involved in.
So yeah, winding it back a lap here. 3 wide we go. Didn't get a clear view of it myself, Fonty, but what did you see happen there?
Well, we've got a whole bunch of cars going into turn 1. Someone's made a mistake on the brakes. Can't exactly see who it was. I know the 28 car, Frank Hodak, was involved. We'll go back once more, have a closer look.
I think it might have been Jared Curry out braking himself and starting kind of that concertina effect. You can kind of see him nudge.
Yeah, the 49 car looks like, actually. Go back one more time and have a look.
Yeah, it looked like Jared Curry into the back of
So it was Riley Beggs in
Riley
the
Beggs, yeah.
49, who was 3 wide to the inside, might have not kept it as tight down low as he wanted.
The yellow car behind gave him a little bit of a tap, which was a bit of a concertina effect after that point. So, yeah, not a great race there for those guys. Bit of a shame. 3 minutes 50 to go. Left now, back live. This battle continues at the front of the field. Frontish, P6, Lee Harrison, Ryan Casher and Jordan Sinney all involved in this.
Casher and Burse have lost out a little bit because it's Jack Boyd in third now with Ben Bargwanna in fourth, and I've just seen Casher just trying to give a little bit of a rub to Burse as well.
Off Harrison's car out the rear end, you can see the sparks flying. So that's certainly one of the cars that has something dragging along the ground.
Could be the splitter. Hopefully it's not the exhaust. But yeah, these guys have only got a couple of laps left, and that's why the shoulders are coming out and the moves are, if anything, getting more aggressive. My goodness, they weren't so gentle at the start of the race, but look at them now, even more so. Aggressively fighting over all of their positions. It's been a mistake from Jordan Ross in second, so Ethan Grigalt has the biggest lead anyone has enjoyed all race of 1.8 seconds. But then, unfortunately, that separates our first and second battle that had been great before the safety car. And you got to look to the action in third, where it has been a multi-car train since the lights went out at the start of the race. Boyd coming under pressure from Ben Bargwanna. Bargwanna getting a good run towards turn one, not quite close enough to strike, but behind there, bit of contact made. Who is going to go in deep? Burst, I think, got roughed up a little bit there, but still managed to hold on to his fifth position there. Lee Harrison throwing caution to the wind because there's no more damage that maybe can be done to the front of that car. He's going to force Casher out. The two of them are going to tangle, and somehow everyone keeps it on the track. That costs them momentum. Here's Manif all the way to the inside, not able to quite grab the spots that he thought he might have been owed there as the guys in front slowed themselves up.
Just catching on those last few corners, yeah, Geordie Sinney pretty much making contact with every single car in that bunch, so yeah, the elbows are really out. Just seeing two up front, Ethan Grigalt putting in, he's got about over 2 seconds now to Jordan Ross, so yeah, starting to really tap away at that lead.
Battles are plenty throughout this field. Just looking here, Aaron Oliver a little bit further back than we have seen him in previous rounds. Start of the race, so one position there. I saw him back in 29th odd, so he's up in 16th currently.
Tell you what, he needs to be careful though, because he's only about 150 or so points clear of the next South Australian, that is Jack Boyd, who's currently running in third, looking at picking up a lot more points. So that particular little fight over some prizes is certainly going to hot up if they finish how they're running right now. Leaders have just started the final lap, less than a minute on the clock, so white flag for these guys, but maybe Boyd isn't going to hold on to third because he's side by side with Ben Bargwanna coming into turn one. Bargwanna carrying as much speed as he can around the outside, but then maybe runs out of room a little bit in turn two. Boyd muscling his way to hold on to third place. Behind then, Sinney and Manif door to door.
Just catching Ben is back up again next to Jack Boyd. So running side by side again just through turn four. Just catch a replay with that.
We're back live. Sure we are on the last lap there. Go. Great little battle here. Aaron Oliver, Caleb Hydes. This car certainly has a fair bit of frontal impact damage. Lachlan Manif. There we go, it's on for young and old. Kobe Williams in the mix of this as well.
Yeah, indeed, but through the final corner already is your leader, Ethan Grigalt. He's had more poles than anyone else. He's had more race wins than anyone else, so he's got more points than anyone else, and he's yet further going to add to that tally and extend his lead, grabbing 150 points for winning race 1. It means he's going to start from 10th on the grid for race 2, that top 10 invert. Jordan Ross gets 2nd place. Behind, there's some positions that you know aren't sorted yet. Jack Boyd, Ben Bargwana having a drag race to the line there, and Boyd only just holds on to that one. Amazing sort of F1 flashback there. Hamilton and Toro Rosso out the final corner on the final lap, drag racing their way up towards the checkered flag. The rest of our field coming across in their respective little battles here.
Fantastic race we saw there at Interlagos. I'd love to drive around here in real life myself. I think it's an absolutely fantastic circuit, and yeah, racing always turns it on whenever we come here.
So yeah, very, very exciting race 1. Fantastic battles, then a safety car to compress the field back together again, and then yet more multi-car scraps. Everyone's crossed the checkered flag, so let's look at how they finished in race 1. Your winner, as we said, Ethan Grigol. In the end, just too good, too consistent, too fast for Jordan Ross, who was also then another step ahead of the rest of the field. Jack Boyd then in 3rd. Look at that margin to Ben Bargwana. 300ths of a second, less than a car's length. I'd dare say there was maybe less than a meter in it for that one. Fantastic finish between those guys for the final step on the podium. Dylan Burse then in 5th. Ryan Casher gets 6th. Lee Harrison in 7th. Geordie Sinney in 8th. Lachlan Manif, big mover up into 9th place, gained 8 spots from his qualifying position. Kobe Williams, last car in the top 10. Look across the next page, and 11th is Sam Christensen. And then our biggest mover in the race, Magnus Rowney. A name I think did not cross our lips all race long, but maybe because just a silent little achiever there. 21 spots gained from deep in the 30s on the grid to finish 12th. Jared Curry then in 13th. Mitchell McGarry in 14th. Lee Stibbs 15th. Aaron Oliver getting 16th place there. Ryan Bell 17th. Chris Donnelly 18th. Caleb Hydes done better than 19th in some previous rounds, but that's the best he could do for race 1. Jason Davis in 20th. Nick, take a look at the remainder of our field.
Yeah, so we've got Cassandra Hall in 21st, Sunta Chun with that accident on lap 2, Peter Clark in 23rd, Dale Carpenter 24th, Isaac Sparks in 25th, Nicholas Scaife in 26th, Gordon Smith to Chelsea Angelo, Matthew Brunt and Riley Beggs in 30th.
Last couple of cars here is basically retirements. Frank Hodak 1 lap down, Edward Mitchell 1 lap down. No, was a retirement for Andrew Hobby, retirement there for Joel Johnson. And Dean Newcomb did take the start, but might have retired on lap 2 there. So if race 1 was entertaining, how much more entertaining can race 2 be with a not far away? We're going to take a quick break here, but we'll be back in not too long for race 2 of Circuit XL eSeries round 9 on SimSpeed.
Hi everyone, I'm Lachlan Ansell, or just Lockie, you probably know me as.
Hey there, it's David Haynes from SimSpeed TV, also commentating iRacing with RaceSpot and with HJBC.
A good commentator is someone who can enhance the vision and the sounds that people can see and hear for themselves and translate it into a narrative that tells the story of what people can see and hear.
Oh, here we go. Goes for the big send up the inside into turn 3. Can he get it stopped? They'll go side by side on the exit, but I reckon that Boyd might have just managed to make the move stick.
And I've always said that the hallmark of a really good commentator is someone who can maintain the attention and the interest levels of the audience, even when there's not necessarily something happening that's particularly interesting or exciting.
When it comes to, moving my commentary forwards, always trying to improve, I think there's a couple things that help. One of them is just watching a lot of other motorsport, hearing how other commentators go about it and where the excitement and the passion comes from with their broadcasts. Also, sometimes listening back to my own commentary, even when I wasn't 100% happy with it, just to try and make sure I keep moving it forward each time. First, one of those drivers who was quite quick in qualifying, has looked pretty quick, but had just a couple little problems, has dropped him back some spots. So maybe he'll try to size up on this one, close it in.
I do have a massive soft spot for real-life Hyundai Excel racing because the first car that I actually raced was a Hyundai Excel, which was in the 24 Hours of Lemons back in 2016, and had a lot of fun and got a really good result. Apart from that, I love watching and commentating real-life Excel racing because you always know that it's going to be really close, really exciting, and there's always going to be a mass collection of cars battling it out for the race win in any given event.
What's greatest about it is the affordability, that it's something people who thought maybe they were too far along in life to start racing can jump into. People who thought maybe they were never going to be able to afford to go racing can step in, get their toes wet and start at that level of motorsport. And motorsport's always too expensive, so anything that makes it more accessible, more affordable, is a great category that should be supported.
People to watch in the Circuit Excel eSeries, well, Ethan Grigalt has definitely established himself as the driver to beat, and he's the one who has a target on his back, but it's encouraging to see that he's got some pretty high-quality opposition. Tommy Staunton had a really good run at Phillip Island. We've seen others like Lachlan Beneath and Ben Bargwana continuing to improve as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing the results continue to evolve over the course of the series.
I'll tell you what, there wasn't much space there. They make contact, and it's Greg Galt who gets fired off the racetrack. They were side by side, and Greg Galt, our championship leader, is in the wall.
Some of the people you're going to want to keep your eyes on is both the people with a lot of sim racing experience who are proving that, like Ethan Grigalt, Jackson Suzlin Harlow and that like, but also, like any kind of competition, seat time is going to pay off. So the people who are putting in a lot of practice in the TCR, maybe driving it across some other categories, are also really going to start to shine as we get further into this series. So people like Chelsea Angelo and some others who have been driving this car a lot, some different series, and making sure they get their practice in, they're really going to continue to improve, I think, through this championship. Thanks so much. I hope you all enjoy racing in iRacing for the time being. Hope you get back out on track soon. And also, hope you enjoy the broadcasts because it's been a ripper time putting them together. Well, we're back at Interlagos, Brazil for race 2 of tonight's proceedings in the Circuit Excel eSeries. It's round 9. Race 1 has been run and won by Ethan Grigalt, but that means he's going to start 10th on the grid for race 2 as we invert our top 10 from the finishing order. 10th place goes to pole and the winner goes to 10th on the grid. We saw a fantastic battle for the lead in race 1, and also it just never ended in that battle for third place. 10 cars wanting it at every single opportunity. We also saw a safety car in race 1. Will we see it again in race 2? It's certainly not needed to bring any spice to the action, Nick.
Yeah, that's right. We saw a lot of movers and shakers in race one. Sorry, clearing my throat. And a lot of battles as well. So yeah, Interlagos really not only hot on the ground, but the racing equally as hot as well.
Yeah, that weather is the same as race one here in race two. So 26 degrees in the air, fantastic for a cool drink. 51 on the track surface, no good for the tires on these TCR cars. In a 30-minute race, they can start to wear down. And they not only just wear down, but also just plain get too hot to give their optimal grip. So that's the one to look out for in race two. Warm-up is underway right now. Countdown in your top left is towards our race start. Take a look. We have all but one of the drivers from race one present for race two. So we're looking at 34 drivers. That is ample enough to put on a show in this 30-minute sprint race that's coming up for Asfonti.
Yeah, you're certainly right. Welcome back, everybody. This is a fantastic race number 2. So much action in the first one that couldn't really keep up with it all. There was plenty going on. So I'm sure we're going to see exactly the same thing. I'm not exactly sure what happened to Angelo at the end of that last race. I didn't manage to catch her. I have to go back and have a look on the replay after this race. But yeah, she was having a fantastic race at the front there, but finished way down the back of the pack. Awesome battle between our race winner and Jordan Ross. I'm sure we're going to see plenty more happen here. We've got guys doing practice reverse rollbacks front straight.
Well, countdown is over for the warm-up. We're getting ready for our standing start. We'll quickly run you through the grid with that top 10 invert from the finishing results of race 1. Means your pole sitter is going to be Kobe Williams. He's going to have Lachlan Manif for company. It's a good place for Manif to start. Geordie Sinney in third, Lee Harrison fourth. Ryan Cash is there, as you can see, in fifth, with Dylan Burse in sixth. Ben Barguana is going to start out as seventh. Jack Boyd in eighth. And then Jordan Ross and Ethan Griggold, I think, absolutely look for those two guys to sight through the field. They've been the class of the field performance-wise, and then the rest of the field is where they finished race 1. So Christensen, Rowney, Curry, McGarry, Stibbs, Oliver, Bell, Donnelly, Hydes, and Jason Davis in 20th. You've got first of our women races in 21st there with Cassandra Hall, but the lights are on, the drivers revving, maybe holding it against the handbrake. Green flag is displayed, and who gets a good jump? Jack Boyd with a lightning start, taking it 3 wide between Ben Barguana and Dylan Burse. So good jump from Boyd. Our pole sitter and second place have gotten away as well, but immediately there's carnage in the middle of the pack. Kasha gets speared right into the wall there. He's going to try and get it back on circuit, keep it going, but yeah, he was someone who was in contention for third place in race 1, and he's now well down the order in race 2. Here is Burse and Harrison coming up into Ferradura on lap 1, trying to battle against each other. Tyres will be cold on the standing start, and these cars very sensitive to those temperatures in the front tyres. Front tyres do most of the work. Looking, race 1 winner, Greg Galt. He's gained 2 spots already on the opening lap. He's done it before, the double in the sprint race. Did it at Monza to take the win in race 1 and then work his way back through to race 2. He's certainly done it before in these sprint races, before able to break away in the front and also work his way through the field when he needs to. Yet more contact right in front of Aaron Oliver.
Jason Davis, huge contact there. Just go back and have a quick little look and see what happened there.
And 65 of Edward Mitchell also coming off the circuit there, as I think Kasha might be in the navy blue car, forces him off.
I just had Jordan Ross off on turn 1, so yeah, he just lost a bunch of spots from, I think, 2nd or 3rd down to 6th. So yeah,
plenty.
cars going everywhere here at Interlagos.
Hit check for the lead. Lachlan Manif forces out Kobe Williams as well. So the action just will not stop at Interlagos. We're on a little bit of a replay here looking at that one. There is Burt. And he gets in a bit hot, gives Jordan Ross the move there. Ross, no damage that I can see there. Gets it going again, but lost a handful of spots. 1.5 laps in the books, 27 minutes left to go. Kobe Williams is back to the point of the race. Great battle he's had with Manif. Jordy Cini is going to use some of the grass to try and force his way down the inside. Goes 3 wide there. Lee Harrison, Jack Boyd in the picture. And Ethan Grigalt work his way now up into 6th. So 4 spots gained since the start of the race here. Taking a slightly more conventional line compared to Boyd. Grigalt looming menacingly, going to try to pick them off one by one. Boyd's got a good run up the hill here. And Nick, I think he's looking for a move on Harrison.
Yeah, you can see that bump draft in effect in behind that rear wing of that Audi. Here they come down the straight, very fast straight. I think, yep, got it done without too much contact.
Good to see them all racing hard, racing clean. I'm seeing maximum speeds of around 220 kilometers an hour approaching turn 1. So yeah, certainly that's the fastest point on the racetrack there. So your top 3 are still the same order that they launched off the grid. Jack Boyd's been a big winner from 8th to 4th place. And tough round for Chelsea Angelo and others. Sandra Hoare there as well, I think, with some damage. Well, she's fastest clean lap of the race.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
But yeah, she's certainly on a roll. Just got to try and make up positions. Isaac Sparks sitting in front of her. I think we've got a car off just in front there. That is Chris Donnelly. So just go back there, have a quick little look and see what is going on. Turned. Absolutely gutted about that one.
Will be filthy with that one coming up into Ferradura, and then that just contact on the wrong side of the car, spearing him off. The front of the field, though, Kobe Williams is benefiting greatly from everyone else behind battling. This is 2nd place Manif and Jordy Cini, who are side by side with Jack Boyd, Harrison, and Ethan Grigalt looming. Almost a bit of a tap there as Cini makes sure he holds on to the inside. You're right on board with your race 1 winner as he tries to pick a line. He picks around the outside and might grab at least a spot or 2 doing that. He picks off Lee Harrison but isn't able to grab any other spots. Manif is driving that car as a roadblock like he did at Bathurst very successfully, letting Kobe Williams in the pink Eclipse car break away some. And then here is Burst leading his own little pack. Sam Christensen leading quite the train here with Caleb Hydes, Tommy Sontachun, Ryan Kasha, etc. in tow. So there is 34 cars on track, and I think 28 of them are within a second of another car.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic battles throughout this field here. Just looking at this battle for 7th, 8th and 9th. Jordan Ross involved in this one. Saw him get tangled at the start there. Greg Gold moves up to P number 5. So he's battling hard there with Manif, not giving him any room at all. Absolutely squeezed him out to the grass there. Now they got door-to-door action happening.
Yeah, Manif trying to squeeze him out. Greg Galt saying, well, I'll just use some of the grass then. And yeah, right behind, why not? Trying to defend from Ross and Dylan Burst, who I think each have taken a pole position at least once so far this season. So they are quick drivers. Bargwanna is trying to keep behind him. Quick sim drivers. Is Aaron Oliver, classic over-under on Peter Clark coming out of Junsao there. Just gets to the apex, gets the throttle open earlier. He opens a door which Riley Beggs is going to try to jump through as well. So you miss the apex, you get offline, and you are in a very difficult position, potentially losing a couple spots. That's what we've just seen.
Oh, that was
Oh,
game.
Aaron Oliver.
Not quite another 20. Peter Clark actually just grabbed the grass, was never going to pull it up there. So he falls back a few positions. Meanwhile, out front, we've got Kobe Williams, 1.2 second gap, back to P number 2, which is Jack Boyd. Jordan Sinney fighting hard there in third. Greg Galt's managed to get past Lee Harrison.
Greg Galt was already past Harrison. He's managed to get past Manif, and then Manif has dropped back behind Harrison, I think is what has happened there. So from second place and a very stout defense, something has dropped the pace off for Manif. I can't see damage, but sometimes it's the damage you can't see that hurts the most.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's, yeah, any small bit of frontal damage on these cars, it is going to affect you down the long straight, especially if you're out of the draft or the one leading a bunch of cars. Yeah, it's just like hitting a brick wall with speed. Such an awesome last corner that. It's so much runoff area. When you get it right, it feels good, and when you get it horribly wrong, well, you get absolutely monstered by the rest of the field.
Nick, Ethan Grigol up into fourth now, within 1.8 seconds of the lead, and still there's 2/3 of the race to go for him to try and get to the front.
Yeah, that's it. He's really got to chip away. Hopefully there might be a bit of a safety car or something later on that'll bunch the field back up. But yeah, it looks like Jack Boyd's kind of caught Kobe Williams back, so not so much of a lead that he had earlier on in the race. So yeah, everyone's still keeping it pretty tight.
True. Looking now, Aaron Oliver, and he's lost a spot there to Riley Beggs. He's got Matt Brunt behind him. So he's in a cracking little battle here, 15th, 16th, and 17th. And again, he's behind Jack Boyd on track, losing yet more points to him. And there is tyres up for grabs courtesy of SA Motorsports tyres for the highest placing South Australian driver. So that is a prize I would very much like to win, and I'm sure the drivers think equally so, with a return to on-track racing imminently in the future for Excel's SA and racing in Australia nationwide as well. So I think a lot of our drivers got their focus on that. Kobe Williams is going to get a tap, going to force him out wide a little bit. Jack Boyd, like I say, he wants that position, he wants those points because he wants those tyres.
Great battle here. Well done to Williams to hold on to that one. Just got touched in that rear quarter. He is going to have the drive out. He's probably just going to squeeze in front of Boyd there. Geordie, Sinney, Greg Galt in the mix as well. It's going to be interesting where are they all going to go. Who's going to go wide? I reckon you got to play the smart move here, not throw it in too late. Jack Boyd with the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, definitely looking quick. So Williams can try to hold on to that lead. They're side by side for second, Boyd and Sinney, and then Ethan Grigol lurking ominously there in the ERT colours. He's going to try to find a way to get that thing back on circuit. He's almost boxed in at the minute there with Sinney to his left and Boyd in front of him. So Nick mentioned the possibility of a safety car again. I don't think we need a safety car to bunch this field up as Sinney gets shoved off. Gets a little bit of a tap. Oh, and he gets helped even more by Lachlan Manif coming through. Bad couple corners there for Geordie Sinney.
Great save though by Sinney. Yeah, I'm just catching on that last lap too with Kobe Williams running wide through 11 and 12. just seeing them all over the track now. Lucky to be tapped when there was that big runoff.
My goodness, the angle he had on that and still pulled it back forwards. Fascinating, but good save from Geordie Cini to keep himself in the top 10. The point of the race. It's Kobe Williams still. And then back here, this is Manif, a wounded-looking car in places, battling against Ross, who helps him around a little bit. There we go. No love lost, no room given.
Exactly right. These cars are quite forgiving due to being front-wheel drive action. We've got a battle on hard here for the lead. Down into turn 1. Here we go, 3 wide. Oh, who's going to do it? Can Boyd hold it around the outside? Williams, oh, I think he's got it this time. Williams has left the gap open. He's going to move back to 3rd. We've got Greg Galt up into P2 now. Lee Harrison all over the back of Williams. He's going to make a move up the inside. Greg Galt's going to make a move up the inside of Boyd.
Yeah, great patience by Greg Galt, not to go too early into the S's and to to pick his gaps. Really threaded the needle on that.
He's crossed back underneath in to see the Interlagos, but then he's going to be the outside for Ferradura, and he's picked up a little bit of damage on that car along the way as well. So it's not hurting his pace from what we can see at the minute, but you've got to be careful with that. Can't pick up too much. He's not going to try to find a move here at the top of the hill. But certainly from 10th on the grid up into 2nd, right within striking distance, trying to grab that lead. Ethan Grigolt's moved his way through the field quicker than he has some previous rounds. He's looking very good to maybe be able to take that double round win.
The guys must be chomping at the bit to get back into the Excel series. I know that they've got a calendared round on the 1st and the 2nd in August in Malala, so that's for the South Australian Championship. So they're looking forward to be on track by then, and hopefully, judging by the racing that we're seeing tonight, it's going to be super competitive.
The way these guys have been going, quite a few of those drivers are going to have their race preparedness, have their energy levels for it, because they might not have been in the car or might not have been out on track, but they've been on the sim and they've been racing. And that is what we're seeing. Greg Galt, big move to the inside for the lead of the race as we see Ross and Williams battle as well. And Greg Galt's managed to do it. It was a fantastic chop down the inside and he grabs the race lead.
Go back and have a look at that on the replay.
Didn't signal his intentions early. It was he was in the draft and then made up his mind and dove it down deep on the brakes into turn 1. Here he is thinking about it, and then straight there before Jack Boyd could do anything, if he was going to do anything to defend that spot. So good timing and using the element of surprise from Greg Galt.
Fantastic battles again. This Circuit Excel eSeries turns it on every single week. And I think the formats have been absolutely fantastic. These guys, it's really important to look after your tyres early on, and we're already seeing people, the likes of Kobe Williams, great start. Now he's struggling with the front end of that car. He gets moved back into P5, so you can just see it there. He's just really being on the throttle a bit too much. He's coming out of corners, wheel spinning that front, cooking the front tyres right up. Really not working.
My pick for who's impressed me in the top 10 though, Saunter Chun is up into 8th just behind this shot. He started in 22nd. He's now running up in 8th, and we've only just gone past halfway race distance with no safety cars. So he has picked his way through the field, and imagine some of it's got to do with how pristine his car is looking compared to those around him.
Big change from race 1 where we saw him go hard into the wall, just coming down the track that he's on currently at the moment. So yeah, his game plan was to keep it clean and just keep it on the black stuff, and he's done a fantastic job. so far. So if he has the outright pace, then we could see him get in a hunt. There is not much of a gap between himself and the leader. 6 seconds. 6 seconds. So if we saw a safety car, this could certainly be Suntachun's race.
Closed himself right up to those guys in front, and look how much Lee Harrison is struggling for any kind of grip, any kind of purchase, any kind of turn in. Easy as you like there for Suntachun up into 7th. We haven't seen many moves there. Just goes to show how much Lee Harrison is struggling and how much confidence, how smooth, how precise Suntachun is looking right now. Those track temperatures we saw again, very cold, chilly 47 degrees now, Nick.
Yeah, maybe a few of the the Brazilian clouds have come out, but still very hot on the ground. Yeah, and just touching on what Scott mentioned before, a lot of wheel spin coming out of some of these corners. So
just a move there. Jordan Ross moves up into P2.
We saw the first half of last race, Ross seemed to have the pace to stick with Ethan Grigalt. It's just a couple, just over a second behind him now. So, yeah, I mean, Jordan Ross is going to try and stick with Ethan Grigalt again, I would think. And if Ethan Grigalt's done a fantastic job to move from 10th on the grid into the lead of the race, Jordan Ross has not done bad to go from 9th and work his way up into 2nd.
Suntachun up to P number 7. There, looking for a move on 6th. Putting Dylan under plenty of pressure. Oh, we've got Manif making a move there on Harrison. Harrison really struggling at the second half of this race, isn't he?
Absolutely he is. I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but, you know, like we say, easy to scrape the splitter and damage it on these cars. And not only is that going to hurt you in a straight line, but if it's hurting your grip on your front tires, that is absolutely critical, because it'll hurt you when you're braking, hurt you when you're turning in, and hurt you as you try to open the throttle out of the corner in these front wheel drive cars. You see Caleb Hydes gets part of the front of his car pushed in there, did not take much of an impact at all.
yeah, both Caleb Hydes and Matthew Brunt being some real movers and shakers. So yeah, Caleb I think making about 6 spots, and Matthew Brunt I think making up at around 15 spots. So yeah, all those positions I suppose don't come without a price, and they've definitely barged their way through, yeah, to get to the front.
Yeah, indeed they have. This is a cracking scrap, 11th through to 15th, all stuck together here, being led by Sam Christensen as Hydes finds that there is no grip on the grass. Goes out very, very wide there and loses out some of the great work he'd picked up.
Suntachun.
Suntachun making
2 positions.
2 spots, yeah, in the turn 1, just through the S's.
Kobe Williams got in very hot there, and I think lost out the spot because of that. Gets the tap off of Burse, and then in the picture comes Ben Barguana. So he's coming right back at it.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate for Kobe Williams. It looks like that tap earlier on the race is from taking him out of the lead is kind of shaking him up a bit, because, yeah, he's really getting beaten around now.
Great for Suntachun though, who's now clearing away of these guys up into 5th place. So his charge continues, just picking off drivers one by one. Just has the golden touch on the tyres late in the race is what we're seeing right now. Riding aboard with Williams as you see the finesse required on the steering input, winding it out just a little bit as he feeds the throttle in, but not a whole lot. And get an idea of some of the gear shifts as well from that view. Sequential gearbox for these cars. Dual clutch means very quick shifts for the Audi TCR car. Now the battle here, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. They're going to go side by side, Brunt and Oliver. Oliver's on the outside. He might be having deja vu of the contact he caught in that corner that sent him out wide before. Hip and shoulder, fender flare to fender flare. He's just going to keep Just going to keep Matt Brunt behind him. Mitchell McGarry in the LJ Hooker car, then also ranging up on the back here, wondering what these guys in front are going to do. And it's some level of defense there, but not quite enough.
Dave, it's great to see so many of the Excel series veterans out there from around Australia. Can you mention some of the younger, because there's a few of these younger engineers and people that might not be racing but are also part of the series?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we've got people, we've got, Excel competitors, and then also people involved with the series, maybe not necessarily drivers. So Riley Matheson, one of the young drivers in here today, of course, spoken about Tommy Saunter-Chun and his great efforts here, race engineer for Darren Whittington. So maybe it's time to get Saunter-Chun in the seat a bit more often. It's really showed well in the rounds we've had in the E-Series.
Yeah, you're exactly right, mate. It's great to see everyone getting involved. It's iRacing is such a great platform, and during this terrible time that we've had in the world, where the world's been in lockdown, everyone's had something to do and keep themselves busy with a virtual form of motorsport.
I mean, this is what it is. Excels is meant to lower the barriers for entry to motorsport. iRacing lowers the barrier to entry even further, which is fantastic to have these guys racing, and girls racing. Fantastic to have them as well. So this battle here, hotting up, drag race up the hill for two sort of black and yellow liveried cars, Christensen and Oliver. It looks like it is Oliver who has the inside line for turn one. It's a switchback S's, but in the end, does he relinquish the spot, or does the other driver go in too hot? I think Christensen just came in a little bit too hot. In the end, it was Oliver with the perfect measure on the brake pedal, grabs that spot away and leaves Christensen to the wolves of McGarry and Hydes behind. Struggles on the exit though. This battle's not done.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's what you got to love about one make series, is everything is so even and equal, and that's what the Hyundai Excel series is all about. One of the cheapest forms of motorsport, certainly circuit racing. The Hyundai series is so affordable for anybody to do it, and yeah, such a great series. We've seen so many cars turning up on the grid for each round. Parts are readily available. Such a common car, and fantastic that we've been able to replicate that in the iRacing platform. Not quite in the Hyundai, but the Audi TCR car is certainly basically exactly the same. You know, it pretty much got a Hyundai, just with a different body on it.
Yeah, over 400 log-booked Excel race cars around the country at the moment. Does lead itself to some very, very big grids like we've had here in the E-Series. Oh, that's dramas for Jack Boyd! He was racing, who was he racing in third with? Jordy Sinney, I think.
It was by himself.
Really?
All by himself there. Yeah. Oh,
Yes. There was already damage on that car.
Yeah, okay, so he's come together.
He was racing for third with Jordy Sinney.
That's right. So
But Sinney behind there, so we watch the replay. Bico DePato. And then what?
Oh, something's given way.
Yeah.
That small bit of
Has he-
contact there. See if
Wow.
Wow, this is new. Really, I've never seen this before. Just not even. Oh, the smallest bit of contact there, and it's broken the suspension.
I mean, if you
Wow.
told me that punctured a tire, I'd believe you. I mean, sometimes, you hit the tire, the wrong piece of another bodywork at the wrong angle, at the wrong speed, it's very easily punctured. It hasn't made it any better with finding that wall there, but yeah, that car was already crabbing very, very badly. That is unfortunate, and I think Jack Boyd is rightly disappointed with that one, I think, Nick.
Yeah, it did look like he was trying to aim for the pit lane to maybe try and get a fast repair and get back out there, but yeah, high speed crabbing like that, he was basically a passenger after that first spin. But
3
yeah,
minutes left to go. 2 laps left as Ethan Grigolt's about to start that penultimate lap. Grigalt and Ross still within half a second for the lead. Geordie Cini all of a sudden has some clean air. Some other drivers who don't, and that is McGarry, Christensen, and Caleb Hydes. Hydes trying to take that wide late entry, misses the apex a little bit, but is then going to chop back right underneath Sam Christensen. Solid run that Hydes has got, now going to pick up the toe off McGarry.
Yeah, I think he would have definitely got an off track for that one. He went way out by the wall and tried to straight line that corner as much as he could.
Well, he's going to be successful in grabbing a spot from McGarry, but not successful in grabbing the spot away from Christensen. Looking now, 5th, 6th, 7th. Lachlan Manif has been quite the defender, and he's trying to keep Ben Bargwanna and Dylan Burst behind. The young Bargwanna is looking and sniffing for an opportunity, knows that he's running out of time, running out of laps, and running out of chances.
Yeah, certainly is. Bargwanna racing under his dad's account. Jason Bargwanna, very accomplished V8 supercar driver, and heavily involved on
Here comes Burst, going to switch back underneath Bargwanna as he went a bit wide behind Manif. Then around the outside at Pico de Pato. Is that going to work? Not quite for Dylan Burst, but it was definitely worth the try.
Certainly was. Great battles here. There we go. Burst running really wide there. Kobe Williams back in the hunt here as well. So he's
Manif lost a lot of time there. Burst gets squeezed up on the curb by Ben Bargwanna. There's a minute left. They're coming up to start the final lap, these guys. So they know there's only a couple braking zones where you can really get a move done, and Kobe Williams, as our pole sitter, is now right back in this picture as well. They're going to fan out towards turn 1. Big defensive move from Ben Bargwanna forces Burst to jump on the brakes, and I think Kobe Williams was well placed for that, but then gets into turn 1 a little bit too hot. Easy to do, and we've seen a couple of drivers manage it.
oh, a tap on Kobe Williams again from Lachlan Manif, just coming out of turn 2.
Last lap, this is the lead. Jordan Ross has closed up a couple tenths and is right up underneath Ethan Grigalt. Could we have a drag race out the final corner once again? Battle for the lead here at Interlagos. Grigalt under immense pressure now from Jordan Ross, who's won before. Come through the very, very twisty middle sector of the lap.
Well, I reckon Ross's car is certainly a bit straighter than what Grigolt's is, and in a straight line, he's definitely going to have a little bit more top speed. The car's going to be a little bit more aerodynamic. How's he going to set it up? He's going to go really wide, get the turn in. Oh, Grigolt absolutely nailed that as well. 0.3 of a second currently. Can he manage to hunt him down and get him over the line? Oh, it's going to be super close here. I think he's just going to run out of space, though. He's going to make him go wide. Oh.
Forces Ross to the wide line. They're always going to rub there, but...
Wow. Ross.
Grigalt by 3 thousandths.
0.004.
Yeah, that was an absolute photo finish there for first and second. Ross timed it to perfection, but Grigalt held the shorter line to the checkered flag, and I think that is all that saved him to pick up the lead there. Great fight from Jordan Ross. A couple more battles still to come to the end. Seeing Caleb Hydes and Sam Christensen potentially. And Team Newcomb, Peter Clark, Mitchell McGarry as well. Maybe not quite close enough for the photo finish that we saw, but...
Smith back here in 23rd position. He's putting a lot of pressure on Chris Donnelly. Is he going to manage to have the grunt to get him down? Oh, it's really tough, isn't it? Having to go on the outside, have to turn that steering wheel that much further. He is going to get him, though. Gordon Smith moves up to finish 22nd. What a fantastic race we saw tonight.
Well, we had the photo finish for third place in race 1, and you thought, how can that get any better? Well, how about a smaller margin for the win in race 2? It's absolutely cracking stuff between Greg Galt and Jordan Ross. Perfect gamesmanship. And Greg Galt, I don't know if he came out of that last corner knowing he had 3,000ths in his pocket, but I mean, here's the replay, and it can almost speak for itself. You would have hoped you had your camera out if you were seated anywhere near that finish line. Nick, talk us through this one. How do you see it? Because this is what you want out of any kind of racing.
Just saw Grigol. Yeah. Gee, unfortunate for Jordan Ross. I think if the start-finish line was about another 10 metres further down, I reckon he would have had it. Because, yeah, he definitely had the speed coming onto the straight. But, yeah, that left-hander on that last corner, you kind of do have to take a lot more distance to get to the start-finish line. But, yeah, 4 1,000ths of a second, so super close. I think both of them would be pretty pumped with that result.
Yeah, absolutely they would be. I was absolutely pumped watching that. That is the kind of racing we want. No safety car needed to keep that racing close. Just two great drivers and the big slipstream up the hill. So with that exciting replay, I think we can go to the results now for race 2, which was your reverse grid race, round 9 from Interlagos. Ethan Greg Galt's the winner, and on our overlays here, the margin 4,000ths of a second. On my timing screen, it was 3,000ths of a second. Either way, you need the proper timing equipment to call that anything but a tie. Ethan Grigalt had his nose in front. Jordy Sidney gets third place to round out the podium. Tommy Saunter-Chun, what a run from him. 22nd on the grid, finishes in fourth place, pick up a bag of valuable points. What a star. And then Ben Bargwana in fifth, Dylan Burst sixth, Lachlan Manif in seventh there. Kirby Williams, who was your pole sitter, still holds on for an 8th place finish. So 8th and 10th in race 2 and race 1 for him. I'm sure he'll be happy with. Matt Brunt in 9th. And then Aaron Oliver worked his way up into 10th as well. Nick, take a look at some of the others.
Yeah, some more movers and shakers from Caleb Hydes in 11th, Sam Christensen in 12th, Lee Harrison in 13th to Riley Beggs, Dean Newcomb to Peter Clark, Cassandra Hoare in 17th, Mitchell McGarry in 18th, Lee Stibbs and Dale Carpenter.
Yeah, last couple drivers that we had. Last one's on the lead lap was Jack Boyd, who I'm sure is disappointed to finish that far down because he had great pace today. Gordon Smith in 22nd, Chris Donnelly 23rd, Jason Davis in 24th, Magnus Rowney in 25th, Chelsea Angelo, round to forget for her, finishing 26th in race 2, didn't get the result she wanted in race 1 either. Edward Mitchell in 27th, I believe the last car on the lead lap. Indeed, that's correct. Joel Johnson finishes a lap down in 28th. And of Nicholas Scaife, also a lap down, 29th. Jared Curry, 30th. And then the last cars that we had were Isaac Sparks and Ryan Bell. Ryan Casher, we saw a big incident for him getting sent into the wall. He finishes 33rd, 9 laps down. And Andrew Hobby did manage to take the start for race 2, but didn't get very far. Some closing thoughts from you, though, Fonty. I mean, race 1, action start to finish. Race 2, we didn't need a safety car to bunch up the field to get exactly the same quality of racing that we had in race 1.
No, you're exactly right. What a fantastic event we saw tonight. Such an awesome track, and what a way to end out this Circuit Excel eSeries. This is the final round. Can't confirm at this stage who has won the championship officially, but yeah, great racing we saw tonight. Tommy Saunter-Chun, outstanding drive in that second race. Kept it clean, kept the car clean, came through to finish 4th. Well, stand up and stand out, really. Ethan Greg Galt performance every night of this championship. He did well, had some bad luck, got taken out in the first round that we had. A few of the rounds he was kind of caught up in other people's stuff, but just showing why he is, you know, one of the top sim racers in the Aussie and Z iRacing community. And yeah, fantastic event. We've had great numbers throughout the series, and yeah, I can't wait to for another Hyundai Excel eSeries to kick off again at some stage in the future.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
Nick,
Oh,
your
sorry.
thoughts here?
Yeah, Ethan Grigol finishing the championship in style. So yeah, he would have had over, I think, a 300 or 400 point lead. So winning the double header. So yeah, just showing how talented he is and just how dominant he is. Following up the last few positions, I know Ben Barguana and Aaron Oliver were still pretty close. So we'd have to see what the results are after this round. But yeah, some great racing, great close racing, and yeah, really enjoying the 30-minute format and the reverse grid.
Yeah, I think the format and all the formats for each round have been great. That shorter first kind of race, and then a longer second one for the sprint rounds. The enduros have been a lot of fun as well. This TCR Audi has created great racing, front wheel drive exactly like the Hyundai Excel cars in real life. And so here we saw some fantastic battles, some big names come and race with us, and bit of heartbreak at the same time for a few people. Great racing by the likes of Aaron Oliver throughout this whole series. He's been a real stand-up performer for me. Ben Barguana's been right there in the hunt throughout as well. He finished 5th in the second race tonight. Yeah, great racing all round.
Yeah, indeed. I know Ethan Griggold knows where to find us for a chat. Unfortunately, he hasn't come to do so. And with that, we wrap up our coverage of the Circuit XL eSeries. What a way to finish it. 3 or 4 thousandths of a second between Ethan Griggold and Jordan Ross, two of our most dominant drivers in this season. It's been an absolute pleasure. The racing has been immense, and hopefully it's kept a lot of our XL competitors race fit before they get ready to head back out on the track in the last half of this year. It's been a pleasure to cover it with SimSpeed TV. Fonty has been our producer tonight. Nick Scaraju joining me. I've been David Haynes. And with all that said, the fantastic action that we have seen, I have to say good night.
Close racing, definitely. Very, very close. The cars are very evenly matched. You've always got a battle pack, so yeah, it's fantastic fun. It is fantastic fun.
With the 35 XLs around you, it's always tight racing with everyone throughout the category.
What brought me to the category was it was a cheap form of motor racing, where it's competitive, where all the vehicles are all the same, and it comes up to the driver's skill to be competitive.
The racing's close and competitive, and you don't need to have much of a budget to run around in the mid pack. And the big part of it for me is social. You know, we try and make sure that it's a social event just as much as a competition. Most of us here are just having time off on weekends, so we just want to have a good time.
It's a big community feel. Like, we're all good friends. Everyone helps each other out. It's very much we're all doing it together, as well as the competition in there as well. So it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of big names out here that have been in the game for a long time, such as Bargwana, like they've been here for a long time, and the Excel Australia boys have a lot of knowledge behind them, so they're always helpful around the field.
I guess the opportunities, I think there's a lot of people starting to look a bit at this category as seeing it as a good learning, very basic learning training ground for drivers. And there's some good drivers. There's some drivers in this category that I think are going to get places. I think you'll end up seeing probably 2 or 3 drivers that I can think of maybe end up in supercars.
The opportunities for some people is if they're skillful enough, they can go up the ranks and race in different categories. But this is a good breeding ground for up-and-coming superstars.
Well, Excel is becoming the kind of new way through, you know, from going from Excels through to Formula Fords and so on. But this is becoming a big part of the traditional way through the ranks to the V8 Supercar Series.
I enjoy the category because there's so many people involved, and you can go to different tracks and race in the same category around Australia.
Well, the category of Excels pretty much race everywhere over Australia, including Bathurst, Phillip Island, Winton, anywhere in Australia you can race these things, which is a lot of fun. And from national events to just big state events, there's a lot of racing out there to be had.
I've done a little bit of race car setup many years ago, but never as a driver. So now I have this opportunity to try and learn a little bit about that. But as a driver, I'm a slow learner, but it's good to get your head around all those things in theory.
The good thing about the Excels are very easy to work on, and it's very cost effective if something does go wrong. So if something goes wrong, someone's willing to give you a spare part because they are so cheap to get and easy to come by.
But the biggest part for me really is the social aspect. We all come out, have a bit of banter, have a bit of fun, and all go home straight.
Yeah, there's a big adrenaline rush, that's for sure. It's good fun. Sometimes you have the white line fever when you cross over, you get a little bit angry, and mainly with yourself if you make a mistake, but it's good fun.
It's funny, sometimes when you're out there you talk to yourself, and you talk yourself around the track, and you talk yourself about different situations. As part of the thought process, I guess, is trying to do as much thinking as you can about what the circumstances are. You know, the tyres going off and the brakes good, and what's happening in the car, and you just got to really work your way through it. So quite often you talk to yourself when you're doing that.
Everything's off. Mine just stops. It's weird. There's silence. I do anyway. Like there's no. It's really loud, but there's a silence inside my head, which is really nice. I struggle to switch off sometimes, so yeah, when I'm out there, it happens for sure. Yeah. So this is the Ryan Panovich Memorial Trophy, and it's our South Australian Series marquee event. It's the richest race in the country, which is a cool little fact. So gives people a good chance to win good prizes, and it was started to help us remember Ryan and celebrate his life. Ryan unfortunately had a car accident in 2015 and lost his life and left a big hole in a lot of others. He's missed dearly all the time. He was just absolute legend. I think the best bloke you could, never had a bad word to say about anyone. Just everyone that met him loved him. I miss him a lot. And I hope wherever he is, he sees what we're doing with our lives and he's proud. So yeah, it was a parade lap with all the cars. Last year I thought the parade lap was still the race lap because it was torrential downpour. And I'm like, I'm passing a lot of people. So yeah, I've got to make sure to pay attention next time. So it's a very, very special moment. So to see that many XLs in formation. So. I just want to thank everyone that's made the effort for this event. Like there are people that have gone above and beyond, heaps of sponsors, heaps of people have put cash up, and it doesn't happen without them. So and the interstaters that make the trip over, like that's a big thing as well. So that definitely makes our field a little bit more diversified. So yeah, everyone that's involved needs to be thanked and patted on the back for sure. It's a very fitting tribute for Ryan, for sure.